It's such a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Welcome to our guests at home. And I'm just delighted as can be that Nadine Risha Parks is now living in Atlanta. Yes. So I'm thrilled that she is here. I shared that with somebody. They're like, really? You were here once and before years ago.
Yeah, many years ago.
Many years ago with the Stars Foundation Singers.
Yes, Singers Taking Action, Reaching Souls. We're an international music ensemble. We travel all around the world anchoring love and light through music.
So true. And your voice is just, and you are just so special. I'm glad that you're here in town with us, with your husband and your children and your mother-in-law and family. It's an honor to be with you. So she is going to share with you some music, some chanting.
Yes, I invite you to close your eyes if you wish. And let's bathe ourselves in sacred sound with a chant called Sacred Stones.
Shahantaakaram Bhujagashayana Padmanabham Suresham Shahantaakaram Bhujagashayana Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram Gagana Sadrasham Shahantaakaram Bhujagashayana Padmanabham Suresham. Amen. Dominus illuminatio me. Amen. Dominus illuminatio me. Amen. Vishnu, 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 Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadaram Gagana Sadrasham Shahantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Amen. Namaste. You are the potter, and I am the clay. You are the artist, and I am the paint. You are the writer, and I am your song. I will be your instrument my whole life long. Mold me, change me, color me in shades of you, in shades of you. Play me, sing through me a melody, so when they look at me, they will only see who you are. You are my Father, and I am your child, an empty vessel, and you are the fire. All that you are, Lord, is all I desire. Master, create Create in me your work of art.
Thank you so much. Hello, Atlanta. It's so wonderful to be here. It's so wonderful to now live here and to be with all of you on this wonderful Sunday afternoon. I'm so used to saying Sunday morning. When I walked in, I told everybody Sunday morning. Happy morning, good afternoon, good Sunday. How is everyone doing today? Blessed and wonderful? Yes.
And it's wonderful to see your family. I've only seen your mother-in-law in pictures.
Yes.
Welcome. So honored to be here.
Yes, we are in the stars, singers taking action, reaching souls. We just got back from Hong Kong. We did a wonderful concert there. We have a concert coming up in Los Angeles next month. And yes, so maybe we'll come here and do a concert. We have the international,
That's right.
thank you.
We would love that. We would
Thank
love
you.
that.
The International Music Exchange is a part of our organization where we bring different choirs from all around the world. And I don't know how many years ago it was, we brought a South African youth choir here to Atlanta, and it was just really wonderful. So next year we'll be doing that program again.
We would love to have you.
Yeah. Oh, I see what's next. Okay, I'm ready.
Many nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. But now we're not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. The hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe, somehow you will. You will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope seems like the summer bird too swiftly flown away. Yet now I'm standing here, my heart so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. The hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe, somehow you will. You will when you believe. They don't always happen when you ask, no. And it's easy to give in to your fears. But when you're blinded by your pain, can't see your way straight through the rain, a small but still resilient voice says hope is very near. When you believe, the hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows you will. You will when you believe. You will when you
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hot stuff. You're just hot stuff.
Hot stuff, that's you. Hot stuff. Okay. This is an audience participation moment. Some chanting the Gayatri mantra. Anybody already know the Gayatri mantra? People know the Gayatri mantra. So the lyrics will be up here, and you can listen for a while, and then when you feel comfortable, you can come in, or you can just close your eyes and experience the moment.
Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurabhuvah Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Om
Saitevane Hiniam Bargo Devasyadi Mahi Dio Yona Prachodayat Om Bhurvasvaha Saitevane Hiniam Bargo Devasyadi Mahi Dio Yona Prachodayat Namaste. I think this is our last song together for the moment, right?
For the moment it is.
For the moment. They say this mountain can't be moved. They say these chains will never break. But they don't know you like we do. There is power in your name. We've heard that there is no way through. We've heard the tide will never change. They haven't seen what you can do. There is power in your name. So much power in your name. Move the immovable, break the unbreakable. God we believe for
your hands together.
Thank you so
That's
much.
right.
Thank you. And Penelope, thank you.
Open your mind. Unfold your heart. Relax your senses. Feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Breathe every breath. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, without waiting. Slowly unhinge. 'Cause you ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound.
It's time to pray. In this moment now, right here, God is. Called by many names, through many cultures, histories, civilizations, there's only one. I call it God. This one, first cause to all things, is timeless, ageless, and endless. It is the substance of my life. And as I speak for you, for truly we understand that there's only one of us here. God having an experience with itself. How magnificent is that? And so I recognize that there is a great presence wherever I am. I recognize the allness of life. I recognize the harmony, the beauty, the strength. I recognize that there is grace and peace and joy and abundance and prosperity. All of that, it's right here, right now, wherever I am, wherever you are. I celebrate that knowing. This afternoon, I allow my full heart to swell in celebration of life. And so because I know this is so, I know that this place, the spiritual living center of Atlanta, is a blessing to the world. I know that each one of us is part of that blessing, spreading the message of good cheer wherever we go. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I say thank you to the universe. Thank you for all of my experiences. And I can release my word knowing that there is an immutable law that has already received the direct impress of my thoughts and my words and can feel what has been spoken and shared. And it has said yes. And so I let it go, I let it be. And join me as we affirm together. And so it is.
You can't stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. So lift up your voice. Let it be heard. Tell me your story, tell it to me. Don't leave out a word. 'Cause I think I have been there too. I'm a seeker just like you. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love's growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound, unbound. Yeah. So it is. Thank you, Baji.
After we finally got that candle lit, I'm here to welcome you to our service today. I'm already filled up. I'm already filled up. And we have more goodness for you. We have a special, I don't want to say guest because she's a member of us, but you may not have seen her or heard from her before. Georgina Grace is one of our field practitioners, and she lives in Portland, Oregon. And we've been working together as practitioners. Come on up, Georgina. We've been working together as practitioners for what, I don't know, 3 years at least. And we had a chance to touch each other and embrace yesterday for the first time. And it was like love at first sight. We have been doing our work and spreading our philosophy, the science of mind, wherever we are. And Georgina is going to tell you more specifically about the work that she does. But what I want to say is that she is a healing presence. Before she speaks a word, she touches hearts. And particularly for people who have been wounded, who are hurting. And so that is the commitment that she has made to the world. And I invite you to say more about what you do and why you're here and how long you'll be here.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see you, and I was invited today to tell you why I am a field practitioner with Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. And I don't know about you, but have you ever been in a place with people you love, and all of a sudden you knew that there was something greater to be? Well, that happened to me. And I said, okay, God, I know that you will use me and you will show me what is mine to do. So with that, I got still. I went into meditation, and God knows I'm terribly impatient, so it didn't take long, and 6 words of guidance came. And the words were, return to your roots, social justice. Well, you see, I had been baptized as an infant in the Congregational Church, and that Protestant denomination evolved. It evolved into the United Church of Christ, and we were that tiny but mighty denomination that was part of the social justice movement. That was in my bones. So when I heard those words, I knew it was time for me to evolve and expand. Well, I had an easy way to know where it was I was to go, because Reverend David had been my teacher for my 2nd year of practitioner training. So I just simply got up, found my phone, sent him a text and say, may we talk about me joining your center in Atlanta? And that is how I got here. And so my work, the calling I'm do is I am a grief practitioner. You know, loss is a natural part of life, and grief is a universal consequence of loss. And loss comes in all shapes and forms. But when we can sit in our grief and allow it to be our teacher, we are truly transformed. So more on that later.
Thank you, Georgina. Thank you so much.
Let me take it.
Georgina Grace.
You will hear more from Georgina later on in today's service. And right now, what I want to do is affirm through a statement that I want you to listen to first and then say with me. And so we're going to set the tone with this affirmation. I'll read it first. Please take it in. The subconscious intelligence within me is the power that animates my life. Because all thoughts are creative, I mindfully and consistently choose to think positively. Therefore, I dwell in the upper realm of consciousness and rejoice in the ever-present and overflowing goodness of God. So we're going to say it together. I'm going to say a part, and then I want you to repeat it after me. And then after that, we're going to say it all together. So repeat after me. The subconscious intelligence within me is the power that animates my life.
The subconscious intelligence within me is the power that animates my life.
Because all thoughts are creative,
Because all thoughts are creative,
I mindfully and consistently choose to think positively.
I mindfully and consistently choose to think positively.
Therefore, I dwell in the upper realm of consciousness
Therefore, I dwell in the upper realm of consciousness.
And rejoice in the ever-present, overflowing goodness of God.
And rejoice in the ever-present, overflowing goodness of God.
Now let's say it all together. This came to me, through me, and it has power. So as we affirm these words, put some power into it together. The subconscious intelligence within me is the power that animates my life. Because all thoughts are creative, I mindfully and consistently choose to think positively. Therefore, I dwell in the upper realm of consciousness and rejoice in the ever-present and overflowing goodness of God. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Baji. I'd like to welcome again Nadine Risha Parks to celebrate life through music again. And this is an original composition of hers called Lighten Up the World.
We are on a wheel, spinning through the cosmos. All the love we feel spins away the fear. Walking up the ladder, emanating power. Blessed Holy Spirit, guide us on our way. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, give me all your burdens, give me all your sadness. You'll be filled with laughter only when you say that you are holy water, you are highly favored. Blessing all the mountains, valleys, hills, and plains. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, as we lighten up, go on and show that love's the way. As we lighten up, have faith in every word you say. As we lighten up, give up the stories that we made. As we lighten up, go on and light the way. We are on a wheel, spinning through the cosmos. All the love we feel spins away the fear. For we are holy water, we are highly favored. Blessing all the mountains, valleys, hills, and plains. For we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are courage and we are freedom for all the people. As we lighten up the world, yes, we are masters and we are heroes for all the kingdoms. As we lighten up the world, as we lighten up the world.
Nadine Risha Parks,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
a resident now of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Nadine.
Somebody needs to give you a hand.
Thank you.
I'm Susan Zoller. I'm one of the ministers here at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. I did not know I was going to speak today until a few days ago, and I believe it was ordained because I am Nadine's biggest fan, I think, in the world. And you don't know this, but even right now, one of your CDs is on my dresser next to the CD player. When she opens her mouth, do you not hear the voice of God? So right now, we like to open up as we always do, affirming even more the nature of our being. And, you know, after all that music, I think you should say it like you just heard from the Holy Spirit. I do. So, with me, after me, I am awake. I am awake. I am awake. I am available. I am available. I'm available. And then I'm enough. I am enough. I am enough. And if you have said all this and you believe it, I am ready. I'm ready. I am ready. Amen. January the 4th, 1862 was described as a golden afternoon. The place was the Isis, which is part of the ancient name of the Thames River. And the participants were two men, one a minister and the other Charles Dodson, a teacher at Oxford University, and three young sisters aged 13, 10, and 8, whose parents were not present. The occasion is the repeat of a 1856, 3 years before, 5-mile trip up the Thames. Here's some details. The girls were daughters of one of Dodgson's neighbors, the Liddells, who told them stories as they rode up the river. Also, Dodgson kept an extensive portrait collection of very young girls. The first one ever taken was of the second daughter, Alice Liddell, at age 7. An interesting note. Alice's mother burned all correspondence between her daughter and their neighbor, Charles Dodgson, and Dodgson's relatives deleted the sections of his diary that pertained to that part of his life. Now, given these circumstances and the facts I've just told you, and the chaos in the world today, what thoughts come to you about the description I just gave you? The adults of this golden afternoon were Reverend Robinson Duckworth and mathematics professor Don, which means tenured, at Oxford University, Charles Dodson, who was entrusted with the care of his neighbor and his friend, Henry Dodson, with his children. And the first journey happened, as I said earlier, 6 years ahead. And while they were on the river, Dodgson told them wonderful, fascinating stories. And the golden afternoon referenced here occurred, as I said, 6 years later. And what is significant about this day is one of the stories that he told. Yes, there was good company. It was pleasant and beautiful. But what was special was it inspired a little girl, 10 years old, Alice Liddell, to ask him, because she so loved this story, to put it to print. Dodgson started writing the next day. And more than 2 years later, he handed a final manuscript to Alice. And it was called Alice's Adventures Underground. But we know it today as Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, written by Lewis Carroll. Yes. It was an instant classic when it was published in 1865. And you know, you may be thinking to yourself, Susan, Okay, you're nice, but what in the world does this have to do with living in wholeness? Really? Well, the story centers around Alice's adventures after falling down a rabbit hole. Now, in last week's talks, Reverend David stated that the wholeness of our life is based upon the stories we tell ourselves, and that the changes we choose in life are based upon the stories we tell ourselves. And the wholeness that he was speaking of is a spiritual truth that we are whole, complete, and perfect. We are provided with everything we need to create our best lives. So you may be wondering, what exactly is wholeness? This is the dictionary definition: the state or condition of being not broken, injured, or damaged. It is an intact condition. Also, soundness, health, or well-being in body, mind, soul, or spirit. What we teach here is that we are creations of the Most High. We are endowed with Spirit's characteristics. We are intelligent. We are powerful. We are creative. And we are unbroken, no matter what anyone tells you. We are uninjured, and we are undamaged. We may not hear that very often in today's world. Yes, we are intact, we are healthy, and we are well in mind, body, and spirit. And we have unlimited access to the divine intelligence that created all. Yes, we do. We have access to all the possibilities that are in spirit, whether it's called God, mind, creative mind, whatever. And this mind is not a big person in the sky. This mind is an energetic, intelligent field that is constantly responding to our thoughts, our feelings, beliefs, and emotions. So in actuality, we are always in prayer, keeping in mind that focused thought, deliberately chosen thought, is the most powerful prayer of all. Now, through prayer, we don't control anything. We direct this power. And our essential nature is unchanged by the events of our life. Absolutely. The essential nature of every person, everything, is spiritually whole, capital W. W-H-O-L-E, whole. Absolutely. This is spiritual truth, what we call truth with a capital T. I want you to all remember that. Yet, how many of us are living in Alice's world, or what I call down the rabbit holeness? H-O-L-E-N-E-S-S. You know, take away the W, and what a difference a consonant makes, right? Absolutely. Alice follows a white rabbit and falls down a rabbit hole into another dimension where what is very present in every situation are character flaws and problems. They predominate and they color every aspect of this story. Are we living from wholeness W or wholeness like down the rabbit hole? What a difference a consonant makes. But it's not the consonant, it is the consciousness behind these thoughts that is creative. It differentiates based on our belief system. Now, I'm a former physics teacher, and I know that we are taught that our thoughts, emotions, everything we do, we are emanating an energetic pattern, a vibrational pattern that changes as we think and feel and act. But what happens is that goes out and creates, it's called the wave-particle duality theory, if any of you were just wondering. And, it doesn't make a difference to the infinite what we are thinking or feeling. It's not judging us. It's only in the present moment. But what we continually focus upon and give energy to creates according to the nature of our thoughts and feelings, and it makes the quality of those thoughts and feelings the conditions of our lives. Now, our power, which we have lots of, believe it or not, comes from our ability to make decisions. Absolutely. To make choices. And we all make choices. We're making them all the time. So actually, we're always in prayer. We are. However, keep in mind, it's not just some random thought. Oh, no, I'm thinking a thought. I'm thinking a negative thought. Oh, I'm thinking a thought about a negative thought. No, it is consistent patterns unless we wholly embrace an idea that comes to us. That's also very powerful. It's we who control the thoughts that we have, even if it doesn't feel like we do. We can't control every thought, but what we can do is direct our thought by controlling what we focus on. We do have a choice. You may be saying to yourself yet again, Susan, I did not have any control over the family and culture I was born into. And I did not have any control of the actions of the people around me. Yes, our culture and our genetic makeup do influence us, but they do not define and they do not control us. I'm going to repeat that because it's really important. Our genetic makeup and our culture affect us, but they do not define and they do not control us. Remember that. Next time we feel like blaming something from our past, which of course I never do, but I've heard of people who do, remember that truth. Now, in wholeness, every person, every interaction, everything is an opportunity to see the perfect possibility, the perfect potential that manifests in each vibratory pattern. We can trust our inner guidance, not our ego, not those thoughts that come up that we know are just not very divine, but we can trust our inner guidance and know when the ego is speaking and know when to really pay attention. And while it may not feel like it at the time, we have a choice to react or to respond. Absolutely. Reacting is the definition. Former teacher, here we go. Quick and often impulsive response to something, usually based on emotion rather than thought. Responding, on the other hand, is a more considerate and deliberate response. It takes into account the situation, the other person's perspective, and the potential consequences of our actions. Now, if you hear an explosion close to you, you're going to have a reaction. You're going to have a reaction because we're hardwired to protect our lives. If something is happening really loud close to me and I jump away, I'm helping to preserve my life. Without this instinctive response, I think a lot of us probably wouldn't be here today because something would have happened to us. So reactions have a purpose. But to continually react is not constructive, and it is very often very destructive. One sign of maturity is the ability to evaluate and choose. Yes, our history influences, absolutely. The brain is elastic or it's malleable. We can actually know now through science that we can be lifelong learners because our brains can change and adapt. We can create new pathways in our brains. We can choose to think and to see things differently, even when it doesn't feel like it. We can. I have experienced and seen this in myself and others firsthand, and it depends on how we choose to think. And I'll give you two personal examples. These really happened just the way I'm telling you. I had breakfast with a friend some years back, and she was explaining about what had happened when she went to this women's empowerment workshop. And it was very private and safe. And so the women at one point were supposed to get up, take off all their clothes, go and stand in front of a full-length mirror. We're going to do this at the end of service. And say what they didn't like about their bodies and what they would change. It wasn't Roxana's turn yet, my friend, but a woman got up who she said could have been her twin. And she walked to the mirror, she had taken off her clothes, and she stood there for a minute and said, "Well, I don't like my nose," and sat down. Roxana was astounded. She said, "But there's so much more to criticize. What is wrong with this woman?" It's how we choose to see ourselves, isn't it? Another example that happened, a friend of mine who is also a former minister, Camille, and I were riding in her car one day over at North Lake Shopping Center, and a woman gunned her car and pulled out right in front of us. We narrowly missed plowing into her. And I stood there in my mind, thinking some thoughts. But Camille quietly and simply stated, "I call those drivers Maud. You know, there's no sense in getting upset with the Maud because they're just being Maud, being who she is." Now, having never experienced a person who responded, not reacted, like that, I was changed forever. You know, because my pattern when something like that happened was to go straight down the rabbit hole with Alice. And I won't tell you what I was thinking. What a difference a Camille made to me. Now, Lewis Carroll, as he's known through his pen name, was described as awkward and extremely shy. With children, he was unreserved. He could just flow and talk and be absolutely charming. But in society of older people, they said he was almost schoolmarmishly prim and proper. Now, studies have shown, and with cause, that Carol had a split personality disorder, what we might call multiple personalities. And it's revealed in his self, who was the professor. And by the way, he was lauded by his students. They said he was wonderful. They understood math they'd never understood before. But with the adults, it was a different story. You know, yet there was that other side of him that he was whimsical, boyish. They described him as sociable, fond of recognition, intensely humor. He was filled with humor. And Dodgson, however, the teacher, when he was not with his students, was serious, donnish, mature, shy, aloof, egotistical, and easily offended, and he had very little interest in other people. Just the kind you just want to go out to lunch with, right? But these descriptions of Carol are not without fact. They're not speculation. He was an odd character. Not that there are any of those here today, but Carol stuttered. He was overly possessive of his belongings. He kept an obsessively organized record of everything he did. He suffered from insomnia, and he was an insomniac most of his life. It's not a real pretty picture, but you know, despite this, his imagination created a well-known classic that has been worldwide read and seen by untold numbers. What Wholeness with a W traits enable Lewis to be able to manifest this, to create this masterpiece. Here's one. He created and shared in situations where he felt free to express his imagination. Carol nourished his creativity, and he shared it with people who weren't going to tell him how bad and wrong he were. He didn't need anyone's permission. He didn't need their approval. He just did what he did, and he did it in a place that was good for him. And when it was suggested he put his story to paper, he started writing the next day. The next day. He didn't wait till he overcame shyness, till he didn't stutter, until he got some recognition or attended therapy for so long. He just started. He didn't write to make a masterpiece. He didn't write to make money, and he did not write to create fame. He simply expressed the creativity within him. You know, he did so to create and to satisfy his mind. He wasn't out to better himself. You know, he didn't wait for any shifts to occur where, you know, he would no longer be this drab personality in real life. He just went ahead. How many of us don't do that? Now, Lewis imagined and let that imagination run free. You know, he flowed. He had been telling these children stories for years, and the Alice story may have actually been incubating within him since the first trip 6 years ago. We don't know. So he allowed his ideas to incubate and to emerge. He trusted in his own process. He wasn't stuttering when he wrote. He wasn't doing inappropriate things on that paper. He was letting that urge, that creative urge within him come out. And he did not accept the positions of others who could have impeded his progress of bringing the story to fruition. The earliest version of his manuscript was lost. It was lost. However, he rewrote it. It was even longer, and it was so much better. It included the story of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. It wasn't in there before. You know, so opinions and actions that differed from his own voice did not stop him. He took one of his biggest challenges, his biggest stumbling blocks, his mind that could be just whirling out of control, and made it his greatest asset. How many times do we forget to do that? You know, he illustrated the book himself at first, but he was advised to hire a professional illustrator. Well, you know, if he'd written the book, it's his illustration. But, you know, he heard a good idea, he did it, and the book was so much better because Carol followed that advice. So he had the ability to recognize good advice, then to adjust and incorporate better ideas. Do you ever get stuck in a way something must be? I don't, but again, I've read of people. Don't ask anyone who really knows me, though. But what is really important is that Carol invested his time, his attention, his thoughts, his energy, and even his finances to this book. He paid for the first printing of the book. And when they got the book after 2,000 copies were printed, the artwork was poor. And the illustrator was unhappy. And he told them to stop printing immediately. I don't know if he got a different printer at that time or they improved the process, but it became much better. He chose to do that financing because he wanted to have a lot to say in it. He wanted control of the typeface, or what we call font today. He hired illustrators and he hired translators. So he really actualized this book because, you know, where attention goes, energy flows, and energy is creative. We know that. All thought is creative, and he certainly focused his thought to a laser-like sharpness. He believed in his success, and he saw it as fully accomplished. It was just a process to watch it emerge. Now, what about you and I? Are we investing our desires as Lewis Carroll did? Is there an impulse within you or within me that makes us feel truly alive, a certain idea? When you think of that idea, what feeling comes to you? Is it excitement? Is it disappointment? Do you believe it's a great idea, or do you believe it's a great idea that you could never accomplish? Knowing the strong influence of the stories that we tell ourselves, do we recognize the feelings around our impulses? Do we recognize the thoughts that just instantaneously spring up when we think of something? Because they do. How often has an idea come to you and was promptly shelved, dismissed, or rejected? Take a moment with me now. Close your eyes if you would. Just take a few breaths. Slow, deep breaths. Now, say this word in your mind to yourself. React. Think of a time you reacted. How do you view that now? With your eyes still closed, please say this to yourself: response. Is there a response that you can remember? And how does it feel? Bring to mind something you always wanted to do and you haven't. Release the outer world for just a moment and go within. Just breathe and notice your body. Take about 10 slow, deep breaths. Now visualize that undone action. Go into it wholly and see if there are any senses you can detect. Is there a smell, a texture? Can you feel the air on your skin? Are there any sounds? With your eyes still closed, in that undone action, how do you feel? What emotions come to you? Was there an immediate thought? Did you tell yourself why you can or cannot create this? Or did you say, that's a great idea, let's see what I can do with it? You know, if this happened today, if your idea came to fruition today, how would you feel? Is there excitement? Or do limiting beliefs immediately come to mind? And I ask you with your eyes still closed, who's speaking to you in your head? Who do you wish was speaking to you? Who would you like to hear from? And bring to mind someone that you admire. And if this idea was theirs, what would they do about it? Whatever impressions you got during this time, and don't worry if you don't feel like you got any, it'll come at the right time. Tell yourself to remember them right now. Tell yourself to remember them because the mind accepts that, just like when we tell ourselves to wake up before the clock goes off and we do it. And before we come back to full consciousness in this room, think of something that brings you great joy. Is it a child, a place, a piece of music? What is it? Feel that filling you, that joy, that excitement. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and maybe rub your hands together. Touch your arms. Just be present in this room and no yawning. I saw that. So let me ask you, were your thoughts spiritually whole or Alice down the rabbit wholeness mode, I say? What would it take for you or for me to immerse ourselves in wholeness, to activate the perfect potential of God within us? We're doing it all the time, actually. But what we're actualizing may not be our highest and best, is it? Because God is not evaluating, just responding. That mind always takes it. And I have to admit that I have sometimes been an excellent example of doing things poorly. I have. You'd think I never heard of this. But through my study of science of mind, through taking classes and working with practitioners, I shifted from Alice's Wonderland to a life that is really filled with wonder. And when it's not, I have the tools and the resources to remedy that. I do. Is there someone you admire you'd maybe like to embody their characteristics? I kind of really sincerely hope it wasn't Lewis Carroll. You know, He was quite a guy. They said he shook, his motions were jerky, his firm grip was strong, but at unexpected times he stuttered so much that people could not understand him. And Carol's behavior might be really looked upon with a lot of questions today, especially given his predilection for the company of very young girls. You know, they said multiple personality disorder because he had such distinct personalities. And what came out in that wonderland was so different from anything we know today. You know, the descriptors given to him are definitely wonderland, down the whole list, focusing on his faults, his flaws, and what we might describe as race consciousness. Absolutely. But there's another view you can have of Lewis Carroll, one of his spiritual wholeness. One of a mind that was so creative that he was a talented teacher, a creative genius, a celebrated author who could enchant. This is a man who could construct a world with laws unknown and rules unknown in the common world. No one had ever heard things like that before. And Carroll was actually beloved by children and adults. Oscar Wilde was a huge fan of his. So was Queen Victoria. She loved it so much she asked for a copy of another book. Unfortunately, it was mathematics, so he didn't send it to her. But for all of his down the rabbit hole actions and beliefs, think about this. And remember this the next time you might be focusing on your flaws. Alice's story has never been out of print. It was translated into 174 languages in more than 100 editions. It was presented in 3 musicals, 2 operas, a ballet, and more than, at last count for what I could find, 26 television and film productions. A discarded first copy that was found, probably one of those ones that the art was bad, was expected to be auctioned for $2 to $3 million. So I ask you, Charles Dodgson or Lewis Carroll? Which one are we being at any given time? So no matter what we have done, right here and right now, and I don't mean any exception to this, right here and right now, we can begin living from our wholeness. We can. It's always there. We don't have to wait for anything. An example I think most of you will know, Joyce Reynolds was a long-time metaphysical teacher here in Atlanta. And she told me once that she was an alcoholic, and she had been an alcoholic for a long time, and she had been recovering for years. She said, don't wait till you get perfect. I can't tell you how many times when I was first starting out, I went and spoke drunk to people. But it pulled her through. She had been sober for many, many years. You know, Charles Dodgson does not appear to be angelic by any means. We don't really know what happened with him and those children. But Alice, as an adult, always spoke glowingly and wrote glowingly about him. You know, the truth is, any poor choices he made, just like any of us, did not affect his essential nature, his spiritual wholeness. Every moment is new. Spirit is not caught up in the past and say, well, Susan, if you just hadn't done that, you could have what you want. It doesn't work that way. Change your mind, change your thinking, change your vibratory pattern, and spirit is automatically responding to us. Now, here in the real world, we may have to deal with the consequences of our actions, our behaviors, but there's no time in the spiritual realm. So what times do you find yourself telling a particular story? From these stories, how do we see the world? How do you see the world based on what you're thinking of? Are we living from wholeness, or our incomplete, perhaps broken or fragmented images? Let's see ourselves as God does, as whole, perfect, complete, perfect possibility and potential in every moment. Now, with all the choices in the world and with all the chaos in the world. Let us know right here, right now. I say without any doubt, we can change this world one thought at a time, one emotion at a time, one action at a time. It may be a process, we may have to teach ourselves, but that's okay. Remember, he allowed his own process to come forth, and look at the results. Shifting our stories can bring unimagined changes to our lives. This worked in my life. I know it can work in yours. It didn't magically happen. For me, it was a process. You know, I came to this church. I was angry. I was disappointed. I was not having my best life. But over time, everything changed for me. It did. Should you have challenges believing in your own spiritual nature, and we don't do it all the time 100%, but we have parts of our lives that we probably wish something was a bit different. If you have trouble believing the potential is there, even in those times, we have ministers and practitioners, spiritual practitioners, who are here today in person and online, who are there to assist you. They're ready and available to pray with you, to support you, and to know the truth about you. So I paraphrase a client of mine, and you'll recognize this. This stuff works. The truth is wonderful, and so are we. So blessed be, aloha, namaste, amen, and so it is. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you. And it's now time that we can give back to what nourishes us. This is a time when we contribute to our center. And here's my check. I kiss it every time I write a monthly check here, because I know it is wonderful in what it is doing and what it is bringing, far beyond what any of us may ever see. So here's our affirmation of giving, which is going to come up any moment. There. Would you join with me? I live in a universe of abundance as I freely and joyfully give. I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. There will be a place on either side of the auditorium here you can give your money to. It will be collected. So just in closing, take a breath for a moment. Just take a breath and feel how wonderful your body is. All the things it's doing right now fill medical libraries, and you don't have to cause it to happen. It's just happening. That intelligence is there within you. It's running this universe. It's in every person, every being, everything, every molecule. You are not a mistake. You are a divine creation of the Most High. You are a piece of God. I am not all of God. You are not all of God. But all we are is God. So take this in. Just breathe it in. And let these words return to you when you most need to hear it. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mally LaPete. My pronouns are she and her, and you know I serve here on the creative arts team at the SLCA. Today, I'd first like to introduce Georgina again so that she can come tell you about a workshop that's happening that some of us might want to attend. We'll see her magic work.
Thank you.
You have $1 million smile there, Georgina.
Remember I said grief is a natural part of life, a universal consequence of loss, significant loss. Well, next Sunday at 5 o'clock, I invite you to return to the sanctuary. And in community, we are going through prayer, poems, and loving presence. Each of us bring our grief. You see, grief may be beyond the death of a person, a pet, or a dream. It may be that job you lost, that house, the disease, the diagnosis, the divorce. The world right now is swimming in grief. But what I know is we are not broken by this loss, as you heard in the message today. No, we're broken open like a seed to grow, to root down in self-awareness and new connections. So I invite you to join me next Sunday at 5 o'clock back here to honor your grief, to allow it to speak to you and to teach you and to be the light in the darkness.
Thank you, Georgina. For those of you who want to know more about our center or how to become a member, please contact a member of the welcome team after service in the lobby or online. If this is your first time to SLCA, could you stand and raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you? Anyone? Hi, welcome. A member of our team is coming over to you right now. Take a moment to fill out that card and give it to a welcome team member out in the lobby. And you belong. We have so many great opportunities here. Oh, did I miss somebody? I beg your pardon. You are welcome too. Welcome. Oops, I made a mistake. We have so many great opportunities here to connect, grow, serve, and give at SLCA. For more information about today's announcements and other opportunities, scan the QR code found on your monitor. Please join me in welcoming back SLCA field practitioner Georgina Grace. Well, I already did that part. I need another mistake. We will be joining together with our friends at UUCA on December 24th for pancake breakfast, that's no mistake, in the social hall from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. with music from both members of UUCA and our wonderful Penelope Williams. Reverend Dr. David Alexander will join UUCA Senior Reverend Terrence Strauss for a special 6 p.m. service. It's almost time for our annual Burning Bowl and White Stone ceremony. This year, our special service will take place at 3 p.m. on December 31st. This is an exceptional service you'll not want to miss. We are still in need of volunteers in all areas, from media to welcome team. Do you remember having a favorite babysitter? Well, you can enact that in our nursery, which needs help too. Yeah. We now have dates and hotel information on our 2024 CSL National Conference taking place in Charleston, South Carolina. Plan now to join our group for this amazing conference taking place February 19th through the 22nd. For more information, speak with Shannon after the service. We have secured a group rate that will need to be paid to SLCA by December 21st, if you want to get in on that. Well, all practitioners available for prayer this afternoon, please make yourselves known now, in person and in the online chat, to be recognized. Thank you. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in the room or reach out to a practitioner online for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. In-person practitioners will be sitting in the chairs over on this side of the sanctuary following the service today. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to visiting with you after the service in the social hall for food and fellowship. You belong.
Thank you, Mally. I invite you to stand as we sing together our closing song. Thank you, Nadine. Also, I want to invite everybody to stop by Nadine's merch table. Come on now. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. Yes, we do. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. Yes, we do. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. 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 Have a great weekend, everybody. Make sure you drop by Nadine's table, say hello to her, and grab her merch.